Welcome everyone, glad you're here. As for today's figure review, we'll be looking at two figures again actually, and those are the cttoys Wolverines. Now I've had these two figures since 2024, which was last year, and I've had the tiger stripes since December, and I've had the brown suit since November. So basically by the time of their initial release respectively. And it's been like 8 months by the time of their release, by the time of this recording, and I'm reviewing both figures at the same time since I pretty much think that they both share the same body mold and the same amount of accessories, so why not? But as for a start, here's the front of the box, and here's the side of the box. And as for the other side, we have Wolverine. As for the top, Wolverine again, and down below some warning labeling. And as for the back, we have the promotional art for the figures. So yeah, without further ado, let's open these two up. Now that both figures are out of the box, let's begin with some articulation. But since both of them share the same body mold, I'll just stick with Tiger Stripe Wolverine here. So to start off, his head can move up this much and down that much, which is some good range. Can tilt side to side. Has full rotation all over. And it is on a double-sided ball joint. And that's how it looks underneath the head. As for the arms, the only difference between the tiger stripe and the brown suit Wolverine is the shoulder pads here, and it is attached behind him, as you can see that, and it does rotate. It does have butterfly joints. Has a more than a T pose. Has bicep swivel. A double jointed elbow. A wrist hinge. Can move down that much and move up that much. Full rotation as well. As for the upper torso, you can arc back about that much. It does leave a gap here, and it can move down about that much. But it also does leave a gap behind. And as for the lower torso, before the lower torso, you can tilt from side to side. And as for the lower torso, you can arc about that much. You can ab crunch about that much, which is some good range. And you know it's good articulation on the arms if he can cross its arms, which is great. As for his legs, he can move up about that much and backwards, and not so much because he's being hindered by his butt. It has an average split, but it does have a drop down mechanic. So if you drop it down, it can move about that much, which is great, and backwards about that much. But it does leave a massive gap in there, and it can perform, I think, still about the same type of split. Has a bit of a thigh swivel, a double jointed knee, a toe hinge, can move down that much and up about that much, and it does have an ankle rocker and a toe pivot. So yeah, it's a pretty great articulation as expected of Mafex, replicated by cttoys. So yeah, pretty great articulation. Alright, as for accessories, to start off, we have both the neutral face on the figures, Tiger Stripe being a little more light on his skin tone, and Brown Suit being a little more tan on his skin tone. And they pretty much have the same neutral face. And we have the fisted hands on the figure. And as for Brown Suit Wolverine, as his alternate head sculpts, we have this smirking one, and the next is the unmasked head sculpt, shouting one, and at the same time is dropped, mask, but you can pair these things when you insert it on the figure. As for the Tiger Stripe one, we have this neutral face, unmasked one, and at the same time as well, he's dropped down mask, which you have to pair when inserting on the figure as well. And last but not least is alternate head sculpt for Tiger Stripe Wolverine, this gritting teeth one, which is great. As for the hands, they both have the same relaxed hands, but with different colors. And as for the claws, here we have Tiger Stripes, or rather Brown Suit Wolverine, my bad. I really like the shining on the claws here. And as for Tiger Stripe, we have the straight ones. Again, great shine on the claws. And the last but not least, my custom ones. Here we have Brown Suit Wolverine's claws. This is a custom made that I ordered. And here's the difference between the custom one here and the cttoys one. The custom one being a tad bit more, longer compared and more spread out compared to the CT one. This is a great custom claws for Brown Suit Wolverine. And the last but not least, the best one, the custom claws for Tiger Stripe Wolverine. We have these spread out and much more savage looking claws compared to the straight ones, and they really did a great job painting the gloves for this one as well. And here's a comparison to the straight ones from the cttoys. This is great. And that's it for their accessories. Oh, and I almost forgot the last one of the accessories, their respective stands. Here we have the foundation, and here we have the stand and the claw on the stand, which you can just attach it here, and you can attach this big peg to any of these holes, so just like that. And you can also tighten the joints here because it has some screws in it. So yeah, if it gets like flimsy, or they can't support the figure, then you just have to screw this ones. So yeah, this is the stand. It's pretty average, but that's to be expected. Before we showcase some size comparisons, here's how they look with the drop down mask and the unmasked head with the custom claws. So here's a Brown Suit Wolverine, very nice, and here's Tiger Stripe Wolverine. And I really dig the custom claws for this one. I like them more compared to the straight one that he has. So yeah. Oh, and I almost forgot that you can actually interchange their head accessories with one another. So you can actually use this head accessory with, you know, the brown suit one and vice versa. And the same goes for the hand accessories, but it wouldn't match the, you know, the glove from them, since, you know, they are a different color. So yeah, it's pretty great, especially if you have like both of these figures. Alright, now for some size comparisons, but before I compare them to some of my other figures, let's compare them to some common items so you can have like a general sense of how they scale compared to these items. So as for a start, here's a marker and a pen. Here's a spoon and a fork. Here's an almost used masking tape. And here's a comb. Here's a water bottle. And lastly, here's a PlayStation 5 controller. Alright, let's get with the other figures. Comparing them to some of my other figures, let's start with some male ones. So, as for a start, here's a cttoys Spider-Man and a black symbiote cttoys Spider-Man, and also a Marvel Legends Spider-Man, the black symbiote one. Next we have a Mafex Dark Knight Returns Batman and a Mezco Darkseid. My previous reviewed Gong Studios and Pop Mart's Superman and Shazam. And last but not least, also a previous reviewed Storm Collectibles Baki Hanma and a Storm Collectibles Yujiro Hanma. And last but not least, for some female figures, here's Marvel Legends She-Hulk and my custom Face and Body Android 18. Here's Jada Toys Cammy and SH Figure Arts Sakura Kazugano. And finally, here's my Starman 1/6 scale Chun-Li and Cammy. Now for some final thoughts on the figure. This was a great start for cttoys, especially with the release of the brown suit Wolverine. They really did a great job replicating the, you know, figure of Mafex, because it was really hard to find this figure back then, especially with, you know, with no reissue of the brown suit Wolverine. And as they continue with their releases, they really keep doing their best, you know, replicating the figures. And I'm really glad that I can afford, you know, cheap figures like these as an alternative, you know. Even if, you know, like there's, you know, paint chipping in there on some of these figures, it still doesn't look bad. They really did a great job with the sculpt and the overall paint on the figure. It's just, you know, a tiny nitpick and all that. So yeah, this was a great figure to have as an alternative compared to the original. I mean, the original is still the best, but, you know, this is great to have as an alternative. So yeah, that's all for now, guys. Be good. Happy collecting. See ya.